All right. Calling this meeting to order. We're a little past 8 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. I see council member from Ward 2. Is council member from Ward 1 online? No, I believe he's running a few minutes late per text. So we'll go ahead and do council member from, nope, all right, council member from Ward 2.
Present.
Council member from Ward 3.
Present.
Council member from Ward 4.
Present.
Council member from Ward 5. He's virtual. Is he online? No, not present yet. And council member from Ward 6. Present. All right, thank you for that. We can now state the Pledge of Allegiance. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Councilmember Briner. Any changes? There's a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, it looks like our guests are positioned to go first, which is how we make sure that it's expedient for them. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes for the town meeting of January 9th, closed meeting of January 9th, and January 28th, and the work session of January 23rd.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Councilmember Gallagher. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. We will now have resident input. If you are in person, please come up to the podium, state your name, your ward, and keep your comments to 3 minutes, please. If you're online, please raise your hand so you can be acknowledged.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Bentley, and I live on Newton Street, so this is about the new build on Newton Street. Just a few concerns. There wasn't much community engagement on this build. There was a sign put on the lot, and there wasn't signs put anywhere else. It's not an area where you would normally walk. It's off the beaten path, so you wouldn't normally see it. And so there was no way for the word to get around. Some of us took it upon ourselves to tell each other. And so it just seems to me that the communications could have been a lot better. And you like to know what's going on in your neighborhood, right? So I was on the hearing that the county gave on the property when they asked for the variance. And the case file indicated that the person that bought the parcel of land was not going to live in the house that was going to be built. So whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that leads me to think that it's going to be a rental. Now, we have many of the houses in that area, whether you're familiar with it or not, they have a lot of rentals in the existing houses. So that leads to other issues like parking, things like that. You have renters in some of the houses that aren't told what they can do and what they can't do, and so there's a lot of, that creates a lot of issue. But in addition to that, I think Cheverly as a whole, there's a parking issue. And so the renters don't know the do's and don'ts. They're not told, they don't seem to be told what they are, so that creates an issue. And so the addition of this is additional parking. We already have what's been identified as a party house right down the street, so that's another issue. And then right further down the street are your apartment buildings. So, I mean, all of those cause various problems, so that's a big concern for us. I think that addresses all my issues. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Paul Yoakum. I am a resident of Ward 2. I'm here tonight because I recently attended a town meeting, a virtual town meeting, that was held with various organizations within the community. And during the event, I was surprised to find out that in the town charter, there is actually a committee called the Tree Committee. Now, I don't know if there are any current members or if it's active. However, we are facing an environmental crisis, which a lot of people do not realize this. As we go through the town of Cheverly and every region in this area, you will see our beautiful trees are being covered by invasive vines, especially English ivy, which I'm sure there are many people here who have it in their own yard. The problem is when ivy reaches the top of a tree, it will then cover the canopy. And when that happens, it stops photosynthesis and the tree will die. And we have several trees in our community where the ivy is almost at the canopy. Now, the town of Cheverly is known for its canopy, and we do not want to see the volume, the sheer number of trees that we have in our town die because they weren't being taken care of. So if there are no members of the tree committee presently, I'd like to throw my hat in the ring and apply to be the chairperson of the tree committee. And basically what I have planned is, first of all, you need to know the scope, the duration, and the cost. The scope of the plan, what I would do is take a map of the town, and then I would try to line up some volunteers. For example, some of the ladies, some of the people in some of the other Cheverly organizations, where we could go from street to street and on a map actually mark in a red dot where we see trees that are in danger. And then bring that map back for your review so that you can actually see the scope of this problem. Is it 40% of our canopy? Is it 50%? You know, even if it's only 25%, it's still something that needs to be addressed. So first we need to know the scope. The duration, I would say that with a concerted effort, this could probably get done in 2 years' time. The cost would be minimal because I and other volunteers would obviously donate our service, but where the land is public land, including Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, I feel that it would not be inappropriate if 1 or 2 members of the Public Works Department were allowed to assist us. Now, the tools that are involved are very inexpensive. All you need is some clippers, a lopper, and a handsaw to deal with the situation. And if you spent an average of 10 minutes on a tree, in an hour you could rescue 6 trees. So like I said, once we know the scope of the problem and identified where they are, we could definitely get to work on this. And like I said, this should be done at a minimal cost and probably would be finished within 2 years' time. So that's my report to you, and like I said, I am willing to throw in my hat and be the chairman of the tree committee. Thank you.
You may have heard that Valentine's Day is the new year of the birds. So it's perfect that the Great Backyard Bird Count starts tomorrow, Valentine's Day. The Great Backyard Bird Count is a 4-day international event when the world comes together to celebrate birds. We notice the birds around us, identify them, count them, and submit our counts to help scientists better understand and protect birds around the world. For many years, the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee has organized Great Backyard Bird Count hikes. You are invited to join us this Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, we will hike at Woodworth Park, 9 a.m. to 10:30. We'll meet at Tucker Pavilion near the Town Hall parking area. On Sunday, we'll be at Cheverly Nature Park, 9 a.m. to 10:30. We'll meet where the sidewalk ends at the top of Tremont. Everyone is welcome. Just to set your minds at ease about the avian flu, we will not come in physical contact with any birds, only the stuffed ones. And let me remind you that you can find lists of birds seen in Cheverly starting from 1989. They're posted at greencheverly.org under Life in Cheverly. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jay Joyner, and I'm part of District 5. I'm here to comment on the lot at 5600 Newton Street. We are very concerned about that. I don't know that anyone has taken a look, any of the council persons has taken a look at the lot to notice the topiary, the topography, I'm sorry. The graphics of it all. The problem is that there is a 45-degree hardscape in the rear of the lot. And of course, there's an active and open storm drain near the rear of the lot, and that is to take care of the runoff from the lot above it, which is a commercial property. It's a liquor store, and it's also, they rent out the rear of the liquor store for other events. So all of the rainwater, all of the snow runs off the back of that lot into that active storm drain. To have any construction on that site should involve civil engineers. Nobody should be able to construct on that lot. It has a history of no construction, no building there because of the active storm drain. At the rear of not only that lot, but all the sequential lots, is the Anacostia watershed. And because of the openness of the lot, of course, we have critters. I've seen opossums, cats go down there, et cetera, et cetera. The lot is narrow, so I understand that they want to build upward. We already have, as Ms. Bentley has mentioned, we have a parking problem. We don't need another problem compounding what's already there. As she mentioned, of course, there we have the persons from the apartment buildings. We have the party house. Unfortunately, they come and to the point where they park and hang off the corners. They're parking all over the place. So my concern is, why would you want to live full-time on a lot that has been deemed unmanageable, if you will? There would be no recreation space, if you will. There is no way that you could eventually expand the place. I'm sure that there is a height requirement for the buildings and so forth. And not to mention, I did see a markup of the design. It does not in any way mimic the existing properties in that area. So it would be very prominent, if you will.
Time.
Have I used my 3 minutes? Well, thank you so much for listening, and I vehemently disagree with the variance. No variance, please. Thank you very much. Have a blessed evening.
Good evening, Leila Riazi, Ward 1. some of what you're hearing tonight should be expected. Because once again, and I really hate to be this person, but it's necessary for someone to be this person, this agenda packet is incomplete, once again. There is nothing in this agenda packet that does more than reference the vacant lot at 5600 Newton Street. The builder's here, she's been very accessible, and I very much appreciate that, but it's a concern. Item number 14 on the agenda is Open Meetings Compliance Board, compliant decision and acknowledgement. There is nothing in the agenda about that, nothing I can find. That is a problem. That is a concern. It's a lack of transparency. It's a lack of communication. We aren't asking for it to be glitzy and glamorous. We're asking for it to be accessible to the residents of the community. More specifically to 5600 Newton. I'm sure most of you remember the flooding we had a few years ago. This lot was deeply affected by that flooding, as were neighboring properties. My question, when you don't have this material, is how long did the town know about the desire to build a house on this lot? Why hasn't there been a discussion before now? Because I understand the builder with the best intentions has gone to the county. Normally the county would be letting you know that there was a variance. There was a request for a variance. Why hasn't that been publicized to the town? Why hasn't that been discussed in a work session? This lot has a number of problems, as others have mentioned. And I feel it's just unfair to the owner of the lot, it's unfair to the builder of the lot, that this comes forward now, and it comes forward in a manner that feels combative, because there hasn't been the preparation done by the mayor and council. I really do ask you to do better. It's important to do better. And I please would ask you to go and take a close look at this. The stormwater management required for this property, the lower Beaver Dam Creek that runs through this property, it makes what they're attempting to do in all good manner very, very difficult and will impact their neighbors. Also, just because the person who's moving in there only has one car, if I understand correctly, this is a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home. Nothing says that this home will hold with one car. So thank you.
I believe we have Ms. Kane online.
My name is Rita Kane. I am from Ward 2, and I would like to address, and I think it might be addressed later on, the increase of traffic on Crest Avenue, specifically for my block, which is the 2800 block. A year and a half ago, everybody has noticed the traffic, the increase of traffic, the speed at which most cars do zoom by our houses. But more recently, about 18 months ago, someone ran into my car that was simply parked in front of my house, and ran into my car and hit it at such a speed that my car ended up in my neighbor's front lawn. We have been on 2800 block. We've got together, and we also did put in a petition to have, speed humps. And I want to address the fact that it is essential to have something done, because not only do we have cars being damaged, but eventually it's going to be us, our children, and anyone who would walk on Cheverly, on Crest Avenue. I understand that this might be addressed a little bit later on in the meeting, but I want to emphasize the need for traffic to be to be more controlled on Crest Avenue. And I'm specifically talking about my block, but I do believe that it's probably the entire Crest Avenue. So, this is something that is very, very important, not only to us in our block, but we need to manage the traffic, particularly since it is more and more, it has more and more become the road to be taken to cross Cheverly. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kay. Is there anyone else online? Leela Cotham? Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Ms. Cotham.
This is Grady for Leela and Grady. We just wanted to add our concerns regarding traffic calming in the 2800 block of Crest Avenue. Thank Councilmember Watson for being out here with us and to look at it along with the town manager. And we hope that the issue will be addressed as it is effectively a through route. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else online? Anyone else in person?
Hello.
Ms. Tina?
My name is Tina Powell on 2800 block of Crest Avenue, and I just want to support the two previous speakers about traffic calming for Crest Avenue. It's a big problem. It's especially bad in the summertime with people going to and from the pool. Very dangerous. We've had cars hit on Crest Avenue when they were parked 2 times in the last 2 years. And I think that Rita has been great in leading this effort, and Micah has been very helpful to our community in doing what's necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, anyone else in person? Okay, thank you for that. With that, we move from resident input to committee reports. We have the liaison for Rec Council. He hasn't joined us yet. All right, and Cheverly Day Committee.
I don't think Nick or Casey are on, so I will roll ahead. If you're on, please interrupt. Just a reminder that Cheverly Day 2025 is Saturday, October 4th. It'll be the first time we've done it in October in recent memory. So it is the first Saturday in October, the 4th, 2025. It is not a parade year. The next parade will be in 2026 for the 95th birthday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there anyone on from the planning board? Okay. We did have a resignation from the planning board, so if you are interested in participating, regardless of ward, please reach out to your council members or to me. We do need to have more folks on the planning board as we move forward with Hospital Hill developments. Councilmember Briner, did you have anything to add?
I think you just said exactly what I was planning to say.
Great. All right. Board of Elections? Anybody online? Date from them?
I don't see anyone online. I do know that they had an administrative meeting within 2 weeks ago. So they have started the process for elections. The request for a second box at the apartments, we have found and located a box that we can put at the apartments. So 30 days before the election, the boxes will be out for mail-in voting.
Great, that's good to hear. All right. And anyone from the Ethics Commission online? All right. With that, we have some folks here that we need to swear in. I'll ask for your patience as we're swearing in the officer. We do the oath and then have him sign in, and then folks take pictures, so it may take a few more minutes, okay? All right, thank you. Chief?
So good evening, Mayor, Council, Cheverly residents. It's our pleasure and our privilege to swear in yet another fine young gentleman for the Cheverly Police Department. I know that he does not look old enough for this, but he's actually just retired from the Prince George's County Police Department after serving a very honorable and an illustrious career with that department, and we're just extremely excited to have him aboard. He brings a tremendous amount of experience, to include a lot of investigative experience, so it's helping as we continue to build our police department here in Cheverly and best serve the residents. And I know I don't look old enough for this, but I actually worked with his dad 20 years or so ago. The deputy chief said I shouldn't say that, but I thought that it was appropriate. So, Stephen, we welcome you aboard. And Mayor, if I could ask you to administer the oath of office and have him sign his life away to the Cheverly Police Department. Thank you.
I'm going to actually hand this to you. All right. Repeat after me.
Okay.
I always give people a chance to run.
All right.
All right. You're out of time. All right, I'm going to ask that you raise your right hand. Please repeat after me. I state your name for the record.
Stephen Jackson.
Do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I will be faithful
I will be faithful
and bear allegiance to the state of Maryland
and bear allegiance to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution and laws thereof.
and support the Constitution and laws thereof.
I will,
I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently
diligently
and faithfully, execute the office
of Sergeant
for the town of Cheverly, Prince George's County,
for the town of Cheverly, Prince George's County, Maryland,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state
and laws of this state
and the charter of the town of Cheverly.
and the charter of the town of Cheverly. Thank you so much.
You're already going.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Board.
Thank you.
I have you. Can we get some pictures over here? Ask the council to join us.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, everybody now? Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you for your patience. We've got some guests with us, Home Team 5. We're going to ask for an update on Hospital Hill.
Evening. Let me just pull up presentation. I just sent a request to share. is. Sorry, 1 second. There it is, full screen. All right, thank you so much for having us. My name is Teddy Swift with Urban Atlantic, joined with my colleagues at Home Team 5. We're partnered, as you guys know, with the redevelopment of the Cheverly Hills site. Just wanted to provide a quick update as to where we stand specifically in the preliminary plan and subdivision process with Park and Planning. As we were here about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we laid out what we thought the schedule would look like. We do have some substantive updates to share, and I think next steps that will be important for this group here. First, a quick update on where the demolition stands at the former hospital site. We have now, being in February, we've completed the demolition of the power plant. That's new news since we were here last. We've also completely separated the bed tower, which is to remain. That's the building with the helipad on top, from the adjacent wings. So that is a standalone structure now, which means 99% of the vertical demolition is now done. What we're going to focus on from here on out is the interior demolition of the bed tower, essentially just taking it down to its structural core, and then the removal of the slabs and the foundations of the rest of the existing hospital. So we'll pull the slabs out, pull the foundations out, we'll get to a nice room condition, regrade it, install erosion and sediment control measures, and it'll sit like that until we come back in for new infrastructure work. We expect demolition to be complete in April of this year, so in the next two months or so, at which point our demo contractor is going to demobilize, and like I said, it's going to sit in that nice interim condition until we come back, have all of our approvals, have our infrastructure design permitted, and start new infrastructure work on the site. Here are some pictures which I had last time as well, but they do show the progress on site. You can see, my favorite one is the garage that's standing up there now with what used to have a stair tower and the hospital lobby sort of main administrative area attached to it, completely gone. So very good progress, and again, it gives you a sense of now, what the new build filling in those gaps is going to look like in the future. As for the preliminary plan subdivision, so we have at this point now submitted our initial draft stormwater concept plan, our conceptual grading plan, hydraulic planning analysis, draft erosion sediment control plan, and we've submitted our initial preliminary plan of subdivision. Like I mentioned last time, it's a process where their intake reviewers review the preliminary plan. They usually come out with a round or two or three of comments. And then once we get through that intake review, that is when the plan is formally accepted and the referral is made out to interested stakeholders, the town of Cheverly being one of them. So with our initial submittals having been made and us being able to digest some of the comments that have come back to us, now is the time that we would like to start scheduling, smaller group focused working sessions on what those actual detailed plans look like. Again, still conceptual stormwater, conceptual level plans, but we feel better having gotten through the first round of review with all the review agencies that there's not going to be seismic shifts. You guys, what will eventually be referred out to you is going to look a lot in form and fashion as to what we sit down with you all. So starting as soon as next week, and when the different groups are available, town council, planning board, green infrastructure committee, public works to talk about the roadway sections, we'll be ready and willing to sit down and have those conversations with you all. We expect the plan acceptance date, which is when the referral is going to be made out to you, around 2 months from today, April. That could push. Of course, we'll keep you in the loop. But April is, thumb in the wind when I would expect it to be accepted and the formal referral to be made out to the town of Cheverly. Other just general updates really quick. While we've been working on the preliminary plan and the entitlement effort, we've also been working on sort of these other important steps in the undercurrent. The first is the bed tower design. So the bed tower is going to be one of the first renovations that's going to be open as a rental building. And we've started very conceptual level design there for the architectural plans. We've been out with our demo contractor doing some feasibility studies, doing some selective demolition to understand what of the facade we can keep, what of the interior components we can keep, elevators, things like that. So as that information filters back to us, we can work with our architects to then develop a better level of design plans. I'd imagine sometime later this spring, early summer, somewhere in there, we'll have better plans, renderings of what the new build is going to look like that we'll be able to share with town council, planning board, whomever's interested. On the retail front, we are working now to engage a retail group to help us with our merchandising plan to really advance that effort. Now that again, the entitlement, this preliminary plan of subdivision is a massive hurdle for us, and now that that is going well, and we're progressing through it, now it's time to focus on what that actual phase 1 and the phase 1 retail looks like. So we're going to be working with the group over the next handful of months, and I think it's late spring, early summer, somewhere in there, where we'll be able to have made enough progress and have a merchandising plan which shows the general types of retail that we expect, in what spaces, in what phase, to share with the group. And then lastly, regarding the investment opportunities for local individuals at crowdfunding type levels, we are kicking off those series of conversations. We've already engaged a couple of groups, but we're furthering those conversations starting later this month. It's going to take a while to work through, but we'll be able to share what that looks like, timing, again, in a couple of months. Once we have those conversations, once we get through a little further in entitlements, and once we advance our design, get budgets back, things like that, all the substantive stuff that really lets folks know what they're investing in. So that's, we've had the same distraction as you all over the last couple of months, but now that's looking like it's behind us. We've been pushing these things along in the undercurrent, and excited to keep working on this deal. That's it in the way of our updates, unless anyone else. Okay, but happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Thank you for the update. And distraction is probably the nicest way to call it. Are there any questions, comments from council? Councilmember Reiner.
I think I ask this every time, but if it's going to be formally referred to us, you think probably in April, we then have 30 days from then to submit our response, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that question, Councilmember Briner. I think we should probably bake in additional meeting times to prepare for that. Councilmember Delacour.
Thank you. I have a sort of question about the small groups that you want to work with. What sort of topics are we looking at? Are we looking at mostly environmental topics at this point? Are we looking at just a better idea of the scope? Because as we've heard today, input is very important.
Yes. No, absolutely. They are, yeah, it's really what, the groups would be interested in. What we will have at the ready is conceptual stormwater plans, which is where our stormwater management facilities would be located. Conceptual erosion and sediment control plans, which details out as we are constructing the different phases, what erosion and sediment control devices are out there. That's in the weeds, technical stuff. We're happy to go through it. And then also the preliminary plan itself, which you all have seen the plan. It's just a version of that looks at the subdivided lots, but also the right-of-way widths and the right-of-way sections that we have. That's mostly the meat of it, and happy to get into as much or as little detail as folks are interested in.
Okay. Anyone else from council? Councilmember Watson?
Oh, thank you. Sorry. So I guess, I don't think it's a question for you, but when does the public get an update on any public vote that Bladensburg has taken? Because I have not seen anything on their website, but I don't follow their material very well.
I think that's probably a closed session update for us versus something that would be a public vote for Bladensburg.
Well, I think both are probably right. But okay. I guess I was asking if anybody has seen anything publicly from the city. I haven't. The town of Bladensburg said they were not providing comment, but they have provided 3 interviews, which says that they are de-annexing. What I would have thought would be a very simple process just to pull their paperwork is actually a legal process to de-annex. So I'm sure we'll get an update from our attorneys after that's complete. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, I have a couple questions. One is, can you make sure we have a sense of availability? Because it sounds like from now till April, we need to be bothering you all either on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. There will be people that want to get into the weeds of all the technical stuff. Yep. And so we can set up, a technical meeting and then have one that's just for stormwater management. There are folks that will just want to know what the stormwater plan is. And it doesn't have to be the whole team, but if we could set aside an hour, once every couple of weeks, so we have those different meetings for different categories, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then lastly, I know that there were folks who were interested in being investors, and they just don't feel like there's a lot of information about how that works. So if we could just have a separate investment opportunities meeting, okay. I think that would be great.
Yeah, I think we'll know a lot more about how that platform operates, whether it's just a public listing, goes out to specific people here in the next couple of months, but certainly.
Great. All right. Well, anyone else? Okay, well, thank you all. Have a good night. Yes.
Just to add one other thing. Teddy mentioned this too. Just want to come back to it. Is we are going to be meeting with your public works director and your town manager on the road sections for the project, which are going to be very much with an urban design, very much pedestrian focused. And just want to also note that Delane in particular over this undercurrent over the last couple months has been exceptionally responsive. You guys are very well served by him. Just want to add that.
That's great to hear. If I could just ask, when you all are having those meetings, we had mentioned this earlier, but before we submitted the plan, if you can make sure you include someone from the police department, because they are also helping with using infrastructure, green infrastructure, and different types of ways to make sure we have public safety built in.
Of course, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Good night. Okay, so we have, that's the update from Hospital Hill. We have the vacant lot, which is what our public comment came in about, which is 5600 Newton Street. Typically, you can come on up. Typically, my expectation is to get a desire from the council member who is over that. I don't have that information from the council member at this time. So we'll hear from representative for the property and then hear from council.
Hi, yes, hi. Good evening. My name is Alicia, and I did prepare a packet for all of you. I did not prepare one for the audience members, so I apologize. I didn't know, but I have one for you all. I will hand it. But I noted you got here at 8:44.
Do you see Councilmember Wade?
Just FYI, this is Councilmember Wade. I finally got on more line, done with the meeting, so I'm here.
Thank you, Councilmember Wade. We're actually right at 5600 Newton Street on the agenda, so perfect timing. Just for anyone who is observing or in person, the documents that we have received from the representative for Newton Street will be uploaded to the website, so you will have access to those. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes. Good evening, guys. Okay, I won't take too much of your time, 5 minutes. My name is Alicia, and so I am a builder. I am a licensed builder in the state of Maryland. I actually have worked, I work in 5 states I build for. I've built over 80 houses, and I was hired to build a house for this homeowner. She is a 60-year-old lady, and she has a daughter who's 15, and this is her lot. And this house is for her. It's her house that she's building, and she hired me to build it. In the course of the permitting for this lot, I uncovered that the lot is about a foot short of the street frontage requirement. So it's about 1 foot. 12 inches short. And because of that, the lot needs a variance, okay? A variance from the zoning board. And so I just want to let you know where we are today. First of all, I want to show you the house. This is the house that she's building. It is 17 feet wide. It is a very small house. I will hand this to you now, but I wanted to show everybody. So it's on record. It's for the camera. This is the house. Very small house, 17 feet wide. I'll let you guys pass it over. That is 100% actual house. Okay, so while you guys are looking at that, I just want to go over a few points. So again, this is for a 60-year-old lady. It's for her and her daughter. The house is very small, 17 feet wide, about less than 2,000 square feet, give or take. And again, we're just curing, we have to have a variance to cure the 1 foot street frontage deficit. So this has already been looked at by several agencies, Prince George's County agencies, and I've already secured 3 approvals. And that is what you have on your desk right there, copies of the actual approvals. So we're not talking about hypotheticals. We're talking about actual government agencies that have already approved it. So let's talk about that. The first one is WSSC. So WSSC, which handles all of our water and sewer in the county, has already approved for this lot to have public water and sewer. And you have a copy of the permit number, and you have a copy, it says permitted and issued right on there. I circled it in red. All right, the next agency that's also given their approval is the Prince George's County Soil Conservation District. And at the bottom of the next page, I circled it in red. It's a big approval that's been issued for this lot. Project name, you have the lot, 5600 Newton Avenue. So this, because we're building such a small house, we're disturbing less than 5,000 square feet of earth. So because you're doing that, it's not really going to be impacting this lot. The lot, I believe, is over 10,000 square feet. I'm estimating here, but it's a decent sized lot. And so again, the small footprint of a house is not going to be impacting that. So the Soil Conservation District has approved it. The next approval that we have, and it's a 2-page, but I circled the back of it so you could see the planning director has approved it. This is from Parks and Planning, Maryland Parks and Planning, National Capital Parks and Planning's office, their environmental department. They've already approved it, and that is signed, sealed, and delivered as the last page. So again, whenever you're getting something permitted, you're talking about civil engineers. The people that work for these departments, they're all licensed civil engineers. They would not be working for these departments. These are the same people that approve these big developments that you see, other builders building. And so these civil engineers have issued their approval on this lot for this small single-family house. And so if you don't have faith in, in me, have faith in these licensed departments heads that have given their approvals. These people know what they're doing, and they would not authorize or approve a house to go here if it wasn't suitable enough. And so I just wanted to point that out. Okay, and so I've already met with the zoning board, Prince George's County Zoning Board, and we had a hearing, and none of them had an opposition to the new construction house coming up. In fact, all 5-6 members said that it was fine. They said, what does the town of Cheverly say? If the town of Cheverly is okay, we're okay. So again, the zoning board does not have a problem with this new construction house. They just want to make sure the town of Cheverly also doesn't have a problem. So that's why I'm here. And so I also want to point out a few things about the house, just to address some of the comments of some of the neighbors. So because this house is so small, we do not have a basement. This house is going to be on a slab. So a slab is a piece of concrete that's about 4 or 5 inches thick. So because there's no basement, there's no drilling. We're not drilling down into the ground. We're not disturbing anything in the ground. A slab goes on top of the grass. The cement goes on a footer, but the footer on top of the grass. So we're not disturbing any sort of stormwater management pipes, none of that. None of that gets disturbed. So that's fact. That's approved in fact. Okay, and so let's see, I just wanted to address a few more comments. And so again, this is not a rental, this is a homeowner. And, and also I want to point out, if someone was building a rental as a builder, they're not going to build a 1,700 square foot house, a 1-car garage. They're going to probably build them a 3, 4, 5 bedroom house so that they can have actual units to rent, right? So this is a house for a homeowner. She has a car, so that's why it's a 1-car garage house. And she has a 20-foot driveway. So there's going to be no need for anyone to park on the street. It's not going to, I don't foresee that happening. So again, I don't think the street parking is going to be an issue. I don't think she needs that. And again, this is for homeowners, so it's not a rental. And the topography, the last thing I wanted to point out, the topography. As you can see on the site plan, the lot, the actual house is only on a corner of the lot. So nothing of the storm drain that's in the back of the lot is being disturbed. As you can see, there's a huge backyard space of probably about 50 feet or so. Nothing's being disturbed. Nothing's being touched. So it's the house footprint that's above ground because there's no basement doesn't impact anything in the backyard or on the left side of the house. And that's on the site plan that they have a copy of and then they're going to upload into the system. And so I just wanted to also point out and go on record that just that a lot of due diligence has been done already. A lot of agencies have already approved this, evidenced by the approvals that you see on their letterhead, and all that can be substantiated. And I just make a plea to the council, to you, Mayor, that this lady would really, she hired me to come in and build this house, but she didn't obviously know this lot was a foot short. If it wasn't a foot short, she wouldn't even need anyone's approval, right? She could just go ahead and build. And so I make a plea on her behalf because she's already paid for this lot, cash, her money, that you guys approve her, that you guys do not have any objections to her building this house so that she can build this house so she does not lose her money, and who knows what would happen if she's not able to build. I don't know, I can't speak for her, but that would probably be a tragedy for her. So I just make a plea to you guys that you approve her and allow her to build this house. And I will take any questions if you guys have it.
Thank you. I believe Mr. Pounds is online, which is our town attorney, to discuss this property.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Todd Pounds, as you know. Yes, just as a few comments. This is a very small lot. It contains 0.17 acres. And there have been, according to, our documentation there, various approvals that have already been given. And in essence, as was stated, that this is a request for a 1-foot street frontage that is in essence for regular. This is really a request from the County Board of Appeals, and the county is really looking for Cheverly's input as to what they want to do. According to the plans that she's been submitted, which I've reviewed, this is in essence, with the cost of land, which all of you know, the new idea for building is to go vertical. That in essence, they appreciate the fact that houses may not be big, but you're going to require them to go make them taller. This house looks like it's going to be a 3-story, and then floors. Really, there wasn't any plan shown for the 3rd floor, and there wasn't really any showing as to what may or may not be in the attic area for those rafters at the top, which it shows that there may be something, but it doesn't really show what. But from what it was presented there, it looks like it's probably going to be 2-bedroom, 2-bath, as far as what the interior is going to be, and but that's not really part of the variance that is being requested. The only thing that is being requested here for the variance is the 1-foot street frontage, which is 1 foot too small. So with that, I'm available to take questions also.
Mr. Pounds, did you have a recommendation you were providing?
This is strictly a council position. I mean, it looks like they have met the requirements from the county. And so the Board of Appeals is looking for the input from Cheverly. I don't know if indeed they would absolutely follow that input since they can act independently, but I think they are looking for input just to help them out with the decision. But this is something that is small. The problem is that what else could be used on this lot? It cannot be built for something that would be, across the land, because it's simply not big enough. And you're not going to have a house big enough for even the 2 floors that are shown on that plan. Is maybe they could have 1 bedroom, possibly squeeze in a 2nd bedroom. Like I said, there's a garage area that's being shown, but the 3rd area, which no plans are shown on that, I would presume would be where the bedrooms are, possibly 2 more bedrooms up there. So it's difficult for me to make a recommendation here, but as far as the land development is concerned, there's nothing else that could be done for such a small lot other than having a house such as this going vertical. And really, as a practical use, there would be no other practical use there.
Thank you, Mr. Pounds. Councilmember Wade, have you had a chance to speak to the owner of the land? Do you have anything you'd like to share with council?
Yeah, thank you again for, I have not got a chance to speak. This actually came up because of the fact that I was walking in the neighborhood. As you all know, this is on the far west side, on the other side of Cheverly in Ward 1, which happens to be the side that I live on. And as we know, a lot of things, unfortunately, sometimes in the past have just been done without consideration from the town. I do appreciate the developer. I have not met with her yet about her allowing to go over there to build that. It was a dumping eyesore site for someone to come in to do make something good out of it. I did look over the plans regarding it. But we also have to understand the level of engagement with the neighbors that live over there. This will be a different development that will look different from the rest of the houses that are over there, but also as I believe the developer mentioned, that if it wasn't for the 1 foot variance, then this would have went forward. As you all know, this is not how we in Cheverly, how we do things. We engage with our community as a whole, get their input within reason regarding new things that are coming to the community. And again, this is something that would not, from my understanding, would have brought to the attention to the level, if it's not from the level of variance variance of the 1 foot that came forward. So I am concerned with, from my understanding, the residents that live over there, they spoke earlier in the call about the concerns they have. More importantly, when someone comes to the neighborhood to provide a understanding of, hey, this is what's going on in the area, and to reach out to the town to make sure that the residents over there are engaged in that particular aspect.
Okay, Councilmember Gallagher.
Thank you. Councilmember Wade, could you say again what was there before?
It was just a flat site. There was nothing there, no property that was there.
Councilman
It's a vacant lot.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Okay, what do we know what the planning board or green infrastructure or any other advisory committees have
Well, as you
said
are
about
well
it?
aware, some of those are not in effect at this time, and we have a resignation from the planning board. So no, we don't have any recommendations from our advisory boards.
Okay, I guess I'm reluctant to move forward without their input. I mean, it's not like a 1 foot fence variance, where we're saying, oh, we have a 4 foot fence. Excuse me, the code requires the fence only be 4 feet. Somebody wants to build a 4.5 foot fence. I think sometimes the planning board and others don't necessarily look at those, but this is an entire building. I don't know the environmental impacts to Quincy Run, et cetera. So without any of their advice, I don't feel that I have the information to, make an endorsement to the county one way or the other.
Thank you, Councilman Watson. Just for clarity about how town sessions work, after public input, there is no additional comment from the community. So we will hear from council and the guests that are on the agenda. What I would suggest is if a decision is not made this evening, make sure you provide input to your council member so that way we can ensure that we have all the information we need to move forward. I have a question for you as the builder. Yes. When did you learn that you needed a variance from Cheverly?
Last year.
What was the date?
I would probably say no, that I needed something from Cheverly. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't learn that until a few weeks ago. Okay. Because I did meet with Prince George's County Zoning Board, and so that's we did meet with that planning board, and they did not have a problem with this. In fact, none of the not one member had a problem. They just said obviously the courtesy is to make sure that the town doesn't have any objections either. So that's why I'm here. So I would say about 3 weeks ago was when I heard I had to come meet with you lovely people. And that's why I'm here.
Okay,
but the planning board did not have any objections
from the town.
Say it again.
So there was no delay in you getting information to the town and us getting it to you.
I emailed you guys the next day. There's nothing to hide. And also, I just want to point out one last thing. This kind of gentleman was saying, what did some of the other agencies say? Well, we have Maryland National Parks and Planning, which, handles several counties, and they've given their approval. So that's on one of the documents I sent you, signed and dated by Planning Director Ernest Fields, December 3rd, 2024. And that approval is good to 2029 to build it. So we do have input by Maryland PG County agencies. Also for environmental, the Prince George's County Soil District, they've also given their approval. I've given you a copy of that approval. So we do have the input of licensed engineers from these different planning and environmental departments. We do have what they have to say on record. They would not have approved it if they had a problem with it.
I would offer you this just because it sounds like you probably have not built anything in or around Cheverly. Mm-hmm. Prince George's County and the standards that they have are a little bit different than what we have as a town. Oh, okay. It's the reason why we have our advisory boards, because we want to make sure a few things happen. One is we don't want to touch the Chesapeake water. We don't want to touch any water that's around us, any bodies of that. We want to make sure we preserve our environment. We're very concerned about tree removals in our tree canopy. And then also, we specifically engage with our community. So I appreciate that as soon as you learned that you did get in touch with us, because that helps me make sure that we have not dropped the ball in that particular area. But what it also does tell me is that there may be a need to have that engagement, because you would have heard some of what you heard this evening prior to now, if we were able to do that. I saw Councilmember Briner's hand raised.
I was actually just going to agree that I feel like I don't have a lot of the information and time to review it. And I would also want to hear from Councilmember Wade, as it's his ward.
Councilmember Wade.
Just to follow up, again, like the mayor said, we frank and honest, we do things a little different here in Cheverly. So let me clarify, I am definitely pro we bringing smart development to the Ward 1. I'll take it. I have it as well. The main thing is the fact that, again, I was combing I think it was last week probably, the area, just speaking with residents, and I heard about this for the first time. And that's not how we do business in Cheverly, which makes us separates from the county, be frank and honest. The county can pass something. Number one, did they actually come out to the lot and look at the actual landscape of it? Just a little history and background. When we talk about the community engagement, I live on that street, but further down, during the big rainstorm, that Quincy Run that runs behind that flooded all the houses behind there. And regarding that, so it's just a level of just making sure we, especially as me being the representative of that ward, that we do our due diligence before making hasty decisions regarding it. But in no means or anything possible that I am against making that particular area, because it was an empty lot. Many times I've asked the town to clean it out, a level of undesirables being over there as well. So it's not an issue that we don't want this, but it's an issue of not only providing due diligence to do the research that this was just put in front of us, but more importantly, particularly the individuals that live over there, because I know DC, especially the Dean, whatever developments, they do go straight up versus going to ground. There's pros and cons to that, but more importantly, that it will stand out in the landscape of how the area that looks over there. Not saying stand out is a negative thing, but it will stand out, and the fact of the matter that we do have several residents over there that have very much legitimate concerns regarding that. So my vote would be a no now, but my vote also would be advocate for everyone here, including you, because if you do build this, you will be a staple in the community to do. We want more people like you to come in, but we in Cheverly, we do things a different way than state and county. I'm very critical of the county and how they do certain things, so we need to make sure that we have a due diligence process that everyone's knowledgeable and understand what's going on regarding that. I yield back.
Thank you, Councilmember Wade. What I would like to, one is just share some thoughts and then see from council about timing. I'm sure your client wants to have her home built sooner rather than later if possible, or at least know what she needs to do with her land.
So this is our only, the county will issue the building permit, so they're fine with it. We're waiting for you guys to make your decision. If you were to make the decision in her favor, then she would probably get a building permit issued probably within 60 days. And then it would take me 10 weeks to build it, because it's not very big, it's very small. So 10 weeks, and then I'm out. And I know, Council Wade, I don't know if you heard this, but there's no basement. So there's no digging, there's no penetrating the ground. It's above ground, and 10 weeks and it'd be done, it'd be built.
So what I would like to offer is this. One is I want to remind everyone that what we're talking about is essentially this long, right? Like the 12 inches.
Yes, it's just a 12-inch.
And because this distance is missing, so to speak, is the only reason why you even need to come to us.
Yeah.
So I think that if we put that in perspective, I think it's really critical to consider that if it weren't for this, this conversation wouldn't even be happening.
Yeah.
So with that in mind,
and if I can put out one more thing, there are lots on that street that are smaller. This lot is about 60 feet wide. There are lots with existing houses that are smaller than 60 feet. But of course, those were built years ago, decades ago. So, but yeah, there are lots that are smaller than this that have houses on them. So yeah.
I think that what is really important is to consider what this was and what it can be, and then also to be able to assuage the current homeowners over there of what their concerns are. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you have the availability to have a special meeting or to come back for our work session to be able to answer some of those questions. Mm-hmm. But my thought process is to add some time to your client's timetable, maybe an additional 30 days. That way, if you're at our work session, everybody can provide the questions that they have and you can have the answers for them. And then we would be able to have a more adequate vote for you.
Yes, ma'am. I have much time as you need, that I need, or you need, whatever you need, I can.
Is that something that council could consider, Councilmember Wade?
Yeah, I just want to add, I do agree that we're literally talking about this much. That's really not my concern. Again, that's not my main concern. It's just a matter of just engaging with the community. So number one, I will be willing to work with you, whatever you can get my information and whatever you want engagement just with the residents there. And if we have something with the town as well here, but I can make sure that happens. But the main aspect is to make sure that all the residents in that particular area, particularly the town as a whole, because it will be in the town, that they have a full understanding of what's being built there, what are who are you as far as being part of the community regarding that, because of the fact that this is the way I believe things should be done in any community, and I don't believe the county as a whole has as much interest in regarding doing that as a whole.
So if that's something that you are open to, I would ask for the indulgence of council to bring this back for a work session. That gives us 2 weeks to get you questions. I'm sure some of those you've heard, which is what is the impact of water runoff from this site? What does storm management look like, even though it's a slab property? And then it gives us time to ask additional questions too.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll get those to you. You have communication with Councilmember Wade and the town. And we typically vote during town session and then kind of do our meat and potatoes work in the work session. So if we could ask you to come back for that, it just adds an additional 30 days to your timetable, and it allows our residents to be able to get their questions answered.
100%. I'm okay.
All right. Thank you.
So, Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
If I may, so basically this hearing is going to be continued.
Yes.
Until it's reset. I want to make sure that it's not an idea that it's a rejection, because that also creates other timetables. So this is just being continued.
I did not see a rejection from council. I just do we have thumbs up for the continuation to work session questions and then a final vote our next town session? I got thumbs up for that. It's a continuation, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to make sure the record is clear.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. We have a Black History Month proclamation, which I will read. Here we go. All right, reading into the record. Celebrating African Americans' accomplishments and recognizing the struggle for freedom and equal opportunity. Whereas Carter G. Woodson originally established a Negro History Week in 1926 to highlight the contributions of Black and African Americans, hereinafter Black, in American society. Black History Month grew from Negro History Week and is an annual celebration of achievements by Black Americans. Each February serves as a time for the nation to remember and recognize the role of Black Americans in U.S. history. Since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. Other countries around the world, including Canada and the United Kingdom, also devote a month to celebrating Black history. Whereas our community is made up of a diversity of people, but specifically 54% who identify as Black Americans. Whereas the town of Cheverly continues its efforts to acknowledge its past while being forward-thinking for its future through civic engagement, Cheverly has removed symbols of supremacy from its town seal, passed the In Defense of Black Lives resolution, established the Civic African American Community Organization, CACO, and honored historically Black organizations and institutions such as the Fourth Ward Civic Association and the Cheverly Divine Nine. Whereas Black history is American history. While some Black Americans experienced tremendous success, wealth, and opportunity, many still struggle to realize America's promise. The town of Cheverly recognizes that acknowledging this makes them a stronger municipality, poised to adequately meet the needs of all of its residents, and not just some. Whereas the town of Cheverly has embraced every effort to be more inclusive and representational in government and leadership. In July of 2021, Cheverly gained its first black mayor in the history of town, Casey Munyene, who is also a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Additionally, Delane Galloway serves as the town's first African-American town administrator and is also a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And council member Christopher Wade, a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. In the past years, Cheverly has signed a proclamation for Juneteenth, had its first representation in Maryland Black Mayors Association, named a town structure after an African American with the William E. Lee Jr. Building and the Robert Tucker Senior Town Pavilion, and engaged in reconciliation efforts through community organizations like the Mount Hope Commission and the Forum. Whereas the theme for Black History Month 2025, African Americans and Labor, focuses on the various and profound ways that work and working of all kinds, free and unfree, skilled and unskilled, vocational and voluntary, intersect with the collective experiences of Black people. Whereas the town of Cheverly had never proffered a proclamation for Black History Month before 2021. The town welcomed the opportunity to be a leader for surrounding municipalities in celebrating February as Black History Month. The town of Cheverly applauds Governor Hogan's first proclamation for Black History Month in the state of Maryland in 2021. Whereas the town of Cheverly is honored to recognize the historic moment of Wes Moore becoming Maryland's first Black governor on January 18, 2023, serving as the 63rd governor of the state, the third Black person elected as governor of any United State, and as of 2023, the only incumbent Black governor of any United State. Now, therefore, the Cheverly Mayor and Council do hereby proclaim the month of February as Black History Month in the town of Cheverly, to be celebrated and commemorated with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. And I have a correction. Councilmember Wade, I believe you are. Aren't you a Kappa Alpha?
That is a major correction. Yeah. I am not a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. I am a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Family, January 5th, 1911.
My apologies.
We need to make sure that we correct that.
It will be corrected.
I see Galloway's hand.
All right, indeed. All right. Thank you very much for that, and we'll get that corrected. All right, now we have the ordinance for the cable franchise, which is ordinance 2025-02. This is an emergency adoption, so I do actually need a vote for this. An ordinance of the Mayor and Town Council of Cheverly granting a renewal of the cable franchise to Comcast of Maryland and authorizing a franchise agreement. Whereas pursuant to 5-201 of the Local Government Article Annotated Code of Maryland, the Town Council of Cheverly, hereinafter the town, has the power to pass such ordinances as it deems necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the municipality. Whereas the Mayor and Town Council have the power under 5-204D of the Local Government Article Annotated Code of Maryland to grant non-exclusive cable franchises. And whereas the Mayor and Council have adopted a cable ordinance to govern cable franchises that are located within the town. And whereas the town entered into a cable franchise agreement with Comcast of Maryland, which ended but has been extended during the negotiation of the renewal of the franchise agreement. And whereas the Mayor and Council authorized the negotiation of the renewal of the franchise agreement with Comcast of Maryland, LLC, and said proposed agreement has been prepared and presented to Council. And whereas the Mayor and Council have determined that it is in the public interest to renew the cable franchise with Comcast of Maryland, LLC, within the corporate limits of the town on condition that Comcast of Maryland enter into a franchise agreement in substantially the form as attached to this ordinance. Section 1. Now therefore be it ordained and enacted by the Mayor and Town Council of Cheverly, authorize the renewal of the non-exclusive right to construct and operate a cable television system along the public rights-of-way in the Town of Cheverly is hereby granted to Comcast of Maryland, LLC, subject to the provisions of Chapter 26, Cable Television of the Town Code, and a franchise agreement between the Town and Comcast Cable, LLC, in a form substantially similar to that attached to this ordinance. The mayor is authorized to endorse the franchise agreement on behalf of the town. Section 2, be it further enacted that this ordinance shall take effect within 30 days of adoption. Section 3, be it further enacted that if any section, subsection, provision, sentence, clause, phrase, or word of this ordinance is for any reason held to be illegal or otherwise invalid by any court of competent jurisdiction, such invalidity shall be severable and shall not affect or impair any remaining section, subsection, provision, sentence, clause, phrase, or word included within this ordinance. It being the intent of the town that the remainder of the ordinance shall be and shall remain in full force and effect, valid and enforceable. And be it further ordained that a fair summary of this ordinance shall forthwith be published in the newspaper, having general circulation in the town in the period between passage and the effective date, and otherwise be made available for inspection to the public during the aforesaid period. Introduced this 13th day of February. I need a motion to adopt. Councilmember Briner.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2025-02.
Thank you, Councilmember Briner. Is there a second?
I mean, I'll second it. Isn't it 02 though?
It is.
01?
It's 02, but it's 01 on here. So
It's
that one
actually
needs.
02.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll second it, and then I have a question.
All right. It's been motioned and seconded. The question can be the beginning of discussion.
So, is the actual agreement available? I mean, I think I'm okay voting for this, but it's not attached to the ordinance per se, and I would just like it to be publicly available.
We can make sure it goes on the website. I will ask Ms. Richards, is our homestead ordinance 01? I want to make sure I'm not going backwards, because I have it marked as 02.
The cable franchise was 01, actually.
It is 01. Okay. So on the first page is supposed to be 01. On the second page is 02. So I stand corrected. This is actually 01.
I'd like to amend my motion.
Thank you.
To make it ordinance 2025-01.
All right. Thank you. Is your second standing?
Yes.
All right. It's been motioned and seconded. We'll make sure we get additional documents up on the website. Is there any more discussion?
I have a question.
Yes,
On the
sir.
terms, are there any changes to the terms and conditions from last time? Do we know?
No. As a matter of fact, it's extended, so it's the exact same. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. We have cable in the town of Cheverly. I know that makes Mr. Price happy. All right. With that, we will move to the homestead tax credit, and I'm actually going to have Councilmember Gallagher go over that.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was advised that I actually do not have to read the whole thing, but I do want to give thanks once again to former council member Marvelly Nettles Simpson, who spearheaded this effort while she was council member, and it was because of her hard work, and you know, I was very grateful to be able to help support by providing some data analysis to help draft this originally. So what I would like to do is I would like to move that we increase the tax credit from $50 to $150 as indicated in section 30-3.
Okay, and Councilmember Gallagher, I will ask that you read the fair summary, which is just the first paragraph.
Okay. Town of Cheverly, ordinance number 2025-02, an ordinance whereby the mayor and council amends Chapter 30, income-based tax credit programs of the town code to revise the amount of the homeowner's tax credit under the tax credit program.
All right, thank you for that. And so your proposal is to change that from $50 to $150. Did you state that in the form of a motion, council member?
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt ordinance number 2025-02.
Thank you, Councilmember Delacour. Is there a second?
Isn't this just the introduction?
Is this the first reader? I'm jumping ahead. No. We'll vote something in the law without having enough readers. Hold on one second. Yep, this is just the first reader. All right. So with that, I would ask that you remove your motion because we're moving forward.
Madam Mayor, I would like to amend my motion that we not that we adopt it today, but that we follow the three-reader process. That this would be the count as the first reader.
Okay.
For the charter amendment.
With that as the first reader, is there any comment from council or questions? Councilmember Front.
Thank you, Councilmember Delacour, for your work on this. Do we have any idea what the fiscal impact of what this would be as an estimation?
Yes, we do. From what I understand, 12 households took advantage of this in the past, as it stands now.
Do we know if more qualify and just didn't take advantage of it? Do we have any idea?
I would, yes. In fact, I can make that information available. In fact, I have made that information available in past work sessions.
Okay.
I can certainly pull that up again.
Please, thank you.
Will do.
Okay, just bare numbers in case anyone is wondering. 12 times 50 is $600. So that's how much the town has had to consider for this credit before that. And then 12 times 150 is $1,800. The assumption or the hope is that more people would more homes would participate. So if you can provide more data for that, Councilmember Delacour, it would be great for us to give an idea of what that costs the town. Councilmember Reiner?
Just three quick things. We had talked in a previous work session about making sure that there is also an educational push along with this to make sure that folks who are qualified for it know that it exists. The second thing, I assume the change in amount is the only thing that is changing. But third thing, one thing that does need to change is some of the staff and some of the names at the end are not updated.
Okay. As this is first reader, it gives us time to make some edits. I will ask a question. I do not know the answer to this. Ms. Richards, you may know, or Councilmember Delacour, you may know. Did we put this out in the newsletter? The original tax credit. Did we notify folks in the town newsletter that they could, find out if they were qualified?
I know that in the newsletter I had put a notice under council member announcements that folks could take a look on the town website where they would be able to see how to qualify, and so that information has been out.
Okay. My thought is maybe to put a full page.
It will be published on the website and in the upcoming newsletter. It just was still pending legal review because some of the dates did change because it was set to be an annual ordinance, but the way the attorney updated it is so that you don't have to worry about the dates every year. So you will only be updating the amounts whenever you need to every year that you review.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, this is the attorney Jason. I amended it once I found out from Mr. Galloway that this is going to be this is going to be an ongoing program. The initial draft that was given to me just struck out 23 and added 2024. This will give you the option of not having to do this every year, so long as the tax credit amount doesn't change.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Deloach. My thought is if this is just a blurb in the newsletter, that we make this a full page of the qualifications so that people have a good idea whether or not they qualify, and then maybe we do that in more than one, so that that would be part of the education push.
Once it's adopted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments from council? Nope. All right. Well, thank you, Councilmember Gallagher, for updating this. All right. We have an employment agreement. Very happy about.
Mayor, per Mr. Galloway, he said he sent the appointment agreement for review. He has not received any feedback, so the agreement that was sent to you all is what he's looking for approval for. But I didn't have a copy of it, so that's why you don't have it.
Okay. I don't have any emails from council about the employment agreement. Was there any additional feedback that we did not receive? No. Okay. Mr. Deloach?
Yes.
The employment agreement is not actually added to, it's not one of the exhibits for the agenda for today. Should I read it into record?
No, you don't have to read contracts into record.
Okay. All right, great. Well, with that, I will entertain a motion then. Councilmember Watson?
Yes, I will I would like to make a motion to empower the town administrator to sign the agreed upon employment contract with David Morris to be the permanent police chief of the town of Cheverly.
Thank you for that motion, Councilmember Watson. Is there a second?
Second.
I don't know who has that.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Wade. Any discussion? Councilmember Watson?
Yeah, just briefly, I am going to vote for this because it was my motion. I don't, but can we just get the contract on the website, like tomorrow, please?
It does become part of the record after it's voted on, because we've had a contract before. So
no, that's right. I mean, all the contracts should be publicly available. I don't think this one is on the table or on, in the packet for the meeting. So I would just ask that we rectify that after the fact as quickly as possible.
All right. So it's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor? Oh, Councilmember Wade, did you have a comment?
Yeah, just a brief comment. I'm extremely excited about this happening. I think under my tenure as a council member, this is one of the biggest things that I've been part of, and what Chief Morris has brought to the table, as well as the people he has, including Deputy Chief there, along the table, that we're extremely excited to make sure that you stay here as long as possible. We appreciate your service and the rest of your team, what you all have done. Thank you.
Councilmember Gallagher, did you have something? No? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The ayes have it. We're happy to have you, Chief. Councilmember Gallagher?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a bit irregular to coming back. I just want to say that according to the 2022 American Community Survey 5-year estimates, we're looking at around 250 households total that could be eligible. That has a pretty wide margin of error. So I'm giving sort of a little bit on the high side, just as a just so that my fellow council members have an idea of what we're looking at.
Okay. Thank you for taking us back to that. I don't want to lose the thunder of being able to finish your employment agreement, Chief. I would like to just say for the record that When we started with you, we had 4 people hanging out here at the Cheverly Police Department, and now we are fully staffed, and that is not by accident. So our hats off to you. We are grateful for you to be here, and can't wait to see what else you're going to do. All right. Many thanks. All right. Okay, and now we've got open meetings compliance. So we received an Open Meetings Act complaint violation. And let's see. I got that part. So the complaint alleged that the Cheverly Town Council had violated Open Meetings Act. We were found to be in violation of one of the deficiencies, not all, but that complaint was filed and adjudicated. So we do have a public disclosure of open meetings violation response. The Open Meetings Compliance Board issued its ruling on Tuesday, February 11th, 2025, on a complaint filed against the town alleging violations of the Open Meetings Act. The board found that we violated the act, which we admitted in our formal response by failing to make certain public disclosures following closed sessions. The town did not provide enough detail in the disclosures as required by the act. Specifically, the board found the disclosures did not state the time and place of the closed sessions, the recorded vote of each member on whether to close the meeting, and the citation to the statutory authority to close the meetings. The other alleged violation raised in the complaint, which we disputed in our formal response, was resolved in our favor. The board concluded the town is not required to make verbal public disclosures as alleged in the complaint. By law, we are required to make this public announcement of the violation. We will also sign a copy of the board's opinion and send it to the Open Meetings Compliance Board, which is also required under the Act. And just for anyone who is under the sound of my voice, the issue that was highlighted that we admitted to has been rectified, so it will not happen again. All right, thank you for that. And now we have the town administrator's report. Ms. Richards? Or our acting town administrator, Chief.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. On behalf of Mr. Galloway, who is enjoying a well-deserved vacation and celebrating his wife's 40th birthday, honored to present on his behalf. A number of things. That the report's already been submitted for the Mayor and Council's review, but I'll just hit these highlights quickly. Legit, as a result of the claims experience during FY24, there'll be money coming back to the town. That's always a good thing. That means that our employees are healthy as well, and these are reimbursements that come back. The town recently attended a webinar related to federal earmarks, and they're currently evaluating potential for some project submissions. There's also an effort to move forward with WSSC water tower property for the town to purchase that. Mr. Galloway will provide additional information when he returns. There's a $1 million grant application through the Department of Environment for installation of flood prevention sensors. There'll be more to follow as far as an update once a decision is made. And the transformer explosion that was brought to our attention by Councilmember Briner. Thank you for that quick information. And fortunately, while there was some property damage, there was no one injured. The fire department did an excellent job of getting to the town quickly, putting out the fire. Pepco responded very quickly, and our officers were able to help secure the scene pending those repairs. And not on the report, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it, was the recent snow event and the outstanding work once again done by our Public Works getting the roads cleared. And when I spoke with Mr. Brayman, he said, well, Cheverly looks pretty good. He goes, I can't speak for any of their surrounding areas, but so a pat on the back to Mr. Brayman and Luis and the entire crew. They did an outstanding job, as we've always come to expect. And unless there's any questions, that would be the town administrator's report.
Any questions from council? All right. Well, police.
All right, good evening. We're going to start with, since the CPD initiated 24/7 policing, the department has responded to 100% of all calls for service in the town. So I think that's a pretty big milestone from where we were coming from. Thank you. We had the swearing in of Officer Jackson tonight. With that comes a wealth of knowledge in detective work and investigative work. So we will be utilizing Mr. Jackson, Officer Jackson, to start leaning towards, building back our investigative section. And he is bilingual, so that helps. Columbia Park, we're going to talk about patrol and traffic safety initiatives. Columbia Park, Tuxedo Road, and the 50 Overpass Initiative. We are continuing the enforcement efforts in that area as we have not seen much relief. They've conducted over 60 stops since January 15th, and we continue to do it every day. So we do have the permits, or at least SHA has submitted the permits for the red light cameras up there, but we are going to continue our enforcement efforts in that area because the minute we let off, we get complaints of, especially with the pedestrian traffic up there. So we're just going to keep doing that. Stop sign camera initiatives are starting for the following locations listed: Cheverly Avenue at Oakton Way ×2, Jocelyn at 63rd, 62nd Place, 63rd and Kilmer, Crest and Greenleaf, Crest and Euclid, Euclid Valley Way, Newton 57th, Forest Road at Cheverly Avenue, and Inwood Street at 63rd. Incidentally, there's going to be 2 stop sign cameras. We spoke earlier of the traffic calming 2800 block of Crest Avenue. There are 2 stop sign cameras on Crest at Greenleaf and Crest at Euclid. So between that and increased patrols with our officers, that should quell some of the traffic calming issues that they've had up there. So as a result of an increased number of parking violations and complaints of parking violations throughout Cheverly, we've had code compliance out with our officers at different times during the day and night. Right now issuing probably 30 to 50 warnings between Valley Way and Bellevue as a result of numerous complaints back and forth. Matter of fact, we were out there today again on Bellevue and issued 4 to 5 more warnings in the area. So the 2025 projects update, CPD is interested and has been doing a lot of research on the 501c3 that we'd like to develop. We are moving forward with that and trying to develop a board. And as that progresses, I'll give you more updates. CPD is meeting with organizers for the Explorers program next week with the Prince George's County Police Department to develop our own Explorers program here in the town of Cheverly, which would be the first time, as far as I know, that we've ever done anything like that. So I think that would be a great addition to our department. And then we're also just in the beginning and infancy stages of planning and scheduling our crisis negotiation training. In the upcoming months, we would like to be the first department, probably in the state of Maryland, where all of our officers are sworn conflict managers or hostage negotiators. I think that the expertise and communication skills that comes along with that quells a lot of problems for young officers and develops them into even better communicators. So I think it's important. I think it would be huge for the town of Cheverly, and so we're going to move forward with that. And then community engagement, last but not least, thank everyone who came out and supported us at the Polar Bear Plunge. That was my first time in 25 years, and the mayor was there, and it was cold and rainy, but we thank everyone in the town for their support. We look forward to growing this event every year and supporting Special Olympics. So far, that's it for me.
Anything from council? Hats off to those that participated in the Polar Plunge. I did not participate. I was a cheerleader. It was indeed cold, not getting wet, and so I can't imagine what it felt like, but it was really a beautiful sight to see in support of folks who have disabilities. And so I'm glad that we were able to do that. I also want to offer that I really enjoy seeing a police officer in the middle of Columbia Park Road in the morning. I don't know if we're actually writing formal tickets there, but whenever they can get the red light camera, the sooner the better, because we just can't get folks to respect that light there. So many thanks for the work that CP is doing right there. All right, with that, Mr. Brayman.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Town Council. First, I would just like to say congratulations to the chief and also to Cheverly for landing him. The police department is a pleasure to work with. My entire department enjoys working with them. So thank you, Chief, and thank you, Deputy Chief, and your entire department. First, I'd like to, in my report, point out that the Crest Avenue traffic calming report from Mr. Jack Good was in my package. Mr. Good supports two-speed humps being installed on Crest Avenue. Should the mayor and council wish to proceed, I believe a public hearing would be the next step. And if things proceeded forward, we would hope to have them in sometime in the spring of this year. That is pending contractor availability. So that's one thing. The second one, if there's any questions on that.
Councilman Watson?
No, I was going to simply ask if we could go ahead and schedule the public hearing. But maybe that's a group question. But I would like, on behalf of Ward 2, to schedule a public hearing and see what comes out of it. Maybe that's a Mr. Acting Town Administrator Morris question.
It sounds like we had enough folks from public comment to support that. So we can work on scheduling after the town meeting. Mr. Brayman?
Okay. My second point, I'm actually asking for your a vote of approval tonight. As you may recall, the FEMA earmark that we received was $1.688 million. FEMA grants require a 25% match. And so that translates to about $563,000 that the town would need to match. Mr. Galloway reported on this at his end of the year report, but the Clean Water Partnership and Corvius have stepped up to cover that match for the town, which is not only saving us a significant amount of money, but also too, their match is going to be an in-kind contribution, which means they're going to do administer the grant for us, basically, and they're experts in this. And so we received a master program agreement, which is between Corvius and Prince George's County, which I believe then forms the Clean Water Partnership. And so the idea, it's 300 pages long, this. I believe Mr. Deloach is continuing to review it. And so what I wanted to offer is that the plan is to put a cover contract over that, and to have that cover contract either verify that the base contract, the master program agreement, as well as the cover contract are legally sufficient. But what I would like to ask for is for Mr. Galloway to have the authority to execute such cover contract with Corvius once Mr. Deloach has determined that the master program agreement is legally sufficient, as well as what I'm calling the cover contract. This would align us well with the county in that this is, we're looking to administer this grant similarly as to how Prince George's County and Corvius work with administering their stormwater funds. And I believe this is it's my recommendation that we go forward with this. It is time sensitive, I believe, in that we are a timeline set out at a recent meeting did indicate that we may put out an RFP sometime in February or March, and it would be good to have this in place, or at least the authority to work this out once it's legally sufficient. So, Madam Mayor, and I see Mr. Deloach came on, but I've tried to coordinate with him. I would like to seek Mr. Galloway having the approval to execute such agreement once Mr. Deloach has had the time to determine everything's legally sufficient.
I will provide an update. I finished my review of that contract last night, so Thank
you, sir.
All right. All 300 pages.
Mr. Deloach, can you provide us with a very, very succinct summary of the 300 pages?
It covers everything that we need. This contract first was entered into in 2015. Then there were several amendments, I believe 3 amendments that we had to go through. And if the contract that we ultimately have, the underlying contract that we ultimately have, somewhat mirrors the salient points of a 300-page document, then we should be fine. This contract has been vetted several times over the years because it's gone through the amendment process since 2015. So I have no problems with it other than its length. The contract that we're going to end up entering into will not be 300 pages. Okay? There's a lot of stuff in there that the county requires that we do not require. But the requirements of the contract that would apply to Cheverly are right on point.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Deloach. Comments or questions from council? Councilmember Gallagher?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Brayman, would you mind restating just one more time what the what the 1.6 million, how we're going to be using that, what that will do in town, just to sort of contextualize why we're doing this?
The FEMA earmark is a planning earmark, which will have us do comprehensive studying and including designing a solution or even a better solution to the Parkway drainway. But I believe other watershed areas within the town will also be studied. I'm hoping that this is going to put Cheverly in place to be a platinum standard, having the plans in place to allow EPA or whomever to come in and test their projects and allow us to move forward as a state-of-the-art stormwater project town.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other questions, comments from council? If not, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to provide approval for the town administrator to execute the cover contract with Corvius.
All right. Been motioned. Is there a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? Councilmember Watson.
Okay, I'm going to vote for this because tomorrow's Valentine's Day, but and because it's the right thing to do. And I mean, this is a good idea. I don't like to vote on contracts that aren't on the agenda and that we don't have any public posting of. So that bothers me, and I would like to not do that. But I am going to vote yes because everything that's been described makes sense.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Watson. It is impossible to provide the documentation if our town attorney does not complete it until last night. And so it's just been vetted. What I will ask is that we can make sure we get the cover contract up on the website. I don't think folks will read all 300 pages, but we should make sure we provide a copy for that for the curious who have that kind of time. But we do want to make sure that the community does get a chance to take a look at the cover contract. And acknowledging that it's time sensitive as well. That is why we're having the vote this evening. Is there any additional questions or comments during discussion? All right, it's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right. Thank you. Mr. Brayman, was there anything else in your report?
Yes, ma'am. A couple other points, and thank you very much for your support. We will post the contracts. I just wanted to update you that WSSC, I have them planning on bringing them to the February 27th work session to update on Task Order 201. That's the east side of town with the compaction reports. Additionally, though, as you may recall, they've put out, I think, at least one, if not two, flyers for a large water project, the Phase 1 and the Phase 2 on the west side of town. There have been an inordinate number of problems with their water lines in the 57th Avenue block area, and so they actually broke that out, and they're moving forward with that quickly. I believe maybe even with their own crews. I don't know all the details, but they asked us about cooperating with them on a community meeting. It's their community meeting, a virtual community meeting on February 25th. But we, instead of doing Teams, we offer to host or allow them to utilize our Zoom account because that works much. We found that's more compatible. So I believe they are putting together mailers for the affected addresses. Once we get a copy of that mailer, we will also post that and distribute that in a news and announcement on the town. But I wanted you all to know that there's two dates. One would be the February 25th will be a WSSC community meeting about them expediting a water project that has been several inquiries have come in from the residents from the town in that area. And the 27th, we hope to have them there to update on Task Order 201. I have two other points. Snow operations, I just wanted to give you a brief overview. First of all, I thank the chief for the feedback and Mr. Galloway as well. We actually got several phone calls, about 10 phone calls where people were complimenting us. I did want to say, though, that anything that you all can do and I'm very proud of the crews. They really knocked it out. But anything that you all can do to help share some of the information, much of it is contained on our frequently asked questions. It's on our website and part of our news and announcements. When some of the crews received some very negative feedback about when we're plowing, both regularly past parked cars, the snow does go to the right of the plow usually. And so it does, because we do push the snow towards the curb. And so people still do get upset when they see that a pile of snow is left. We are not placing piles of snow in front of anybody's driveway on purpose, but it just so happens when you're pushing it, that's, it is a parked car is there or is not there, we can slide over and get closer to the curb. Also, when we do intersections, we're pushing up against the curb and we are trying to avoid boxing any cars in. And of course, from pushing like in a cul-de-sac up against a driveway. And so I got some feedback that some of our crews got some angry citizens, and I can tell you, you can be rest assured that we are not. We have to place the snow somewhere, but we are specifically looking not to box anybody in. In one instance, we were pushing the snow behind a car. The car had a way, though, to exit from the front and drive forward. And so that's just one example. So, but it was excellent, though, hearing that we were getting calls, not only about the trash and recycling, that too, in the news and announcements. We did send out an additional truck today to pick up some recycling that was put out late, because they weren't aware that we picked up the recycling on Wednesday. But it was good to hear the feedback from the residents. Lastly, I just wanted to let you all know that we are going to be bringing back at the work session. This might be a long work session, but we need to get direction on the surfacing for the Boyd Park playground restoration. And so we will have some samples there and some pricing there, but you may recall that was a decision that was put off, that we need to bring that back to you all. So FYI on that, and if there's other questions, I'm here to answer them, and thank you all very much.
Mr. Brayman, I just wanted to say thank you for your relentlessness with WSSC and just the compaction reports and keeping them accountable. I think through that interaction and really holding them to their word, they've been very, very, very responsive to the town about other things. So in that, I also just want to acknowledge, because I think I've publicly chastised WSSC many times, that I want to publicly also acknowledge that they have been super responsive, yes, to issues that, are their responsibility, but in the past, I think we've seen kind of a slower, delayed response, but just in the past couple of weeks. At the same time, there was a sinkhole in Ward 3. They simultaneously were at CSA making sure that this 2-week-long water issue that we did not escalate, but once we did, they took care of it right away. And so it's been a noticeable difference, just their interactions with us and also the way they receive our emails. And I think a lot of that is due to you. So I just wanted to say thank you to you for all of your hard work on that, because I know it was very frustrating for you.
Thank you. It still is frustrating.
All right, anyone else? Okay, Mr. Raymond, I know that you don't go on social media, so you don't see my public praise, but I'm extremely proud of our Public Works Department, and I get bragging rights all throughout the county. There are folks who have asked to commission our Public Works team to come work for the county and other municipalities. So hats off to everyone for our clear streets. Many, many thanks to you. And I also got feedback that folks were impressed that we were both able to move snow and pick up recycling on Wednesday. So many, many thanks to you. Anything else from you, Mr. Brayman?
No, ma'am. Thank you very much.
All right. With that, excuse me. February work session. Thank you. Council, I will go ahead and tell you one of the things that I would like to see on the February work session. I don't know if you all have had a chance to take a look at your PEPCO bill, but my PEPCO bill was $800. And so I reached out to PEPCO. They're going to do two things. One is a one-on-one session. She liked this idea so much, she's actually presenting it to her supervisor to do it for every municipality. But a one-on-one session with the mayors so that we understand exactly why the bills are that high. Because part of it says a legislative change, and so I'd like to know what laws we need to go complain about. And then secondly, coming to the work session to explain to our residents, and it sounds like there's been some other residents who have experienced high PEPCO bills, why that happens and what their next steps are, and what special payment plans they have or things like that. So I'd love to see that, even though we already have a jam-packed February work session. Councilmember Frye?
To that point, too, I believe not just PEPCO, but BG&E and SEME SMECO, all of them are saying that, and there might be a bill up in Annapolis right now with Adrian Boafo, who's brought that up. So, and I don't know how that would apply, but I think I saw something about that. But the one thing I wanted is a Board of Election update. And then the other two things was the 5600 Newton, and then Mr. Brayman just mentioned Boyd Park. So just putting those back top of mind.
All right, anyone else? Councilmember Briner.
So I've been keeping a running list of things for this work session. So PEPCO, Boyd Park surfacing, the Newton Street variance. We also talked about 5801 Annapolis Road, WSSC. We talked about revisiting the Kilmer Path. We need to vote on the town organization policies. I also have down stream restoration and hometown heroes, all under February work session.
That's a very long session, but I don't think that anything can be moved from it. We are supposed to have representatives from the Clean Water Partnership join us. I will ask everyone to remember to say thank you for coming up with $500,000. It's pretty nice for them to do in kind and manage that program for us. So we definitely want to make sure we keep them on there. Anything else that folks want to add maybe to a different work session? Councilmember Watson?
Well, I don't know where, I don't actually, it's probably here somewhere on my desk, my budget calendar. But, so I don't know when we have a budget meeting, but we were going to do a more fulsome, how should I say, budget, like a budget update of FY25, but maybe we fold that into, go ahead.
I have that down for the March work session. So we must have said at some point that we were going to do it in the March work session.
Okay, I mean, that might be the best we can do. Do we have a budget meeting in March? Like, maybe that we fold it into, but I mean, like, 25 is getting away from us, and we still don't have any 25 numbers, like even from mid-year. And as I agree with you, February is kind of full, but we didn't do it in January when we could have, and now I'm not sure when we can. So maybe you're right, Councilmember Briner. Maybe March is unfortunately the best we can do. Let me find my budget calendar. If I can figure it out, I'll get back to you.
Anyone else? Okay. If nothing further, do we have any announcements? Councilman Watson?
Stuff. Okay. Yes, I have 4 quick ones. Thank you. So this weekend is, okay, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. That doesn't count as one because I already did it, but I shouldn't have to tell you that anyway. Monday is President's Day, the 17th, which is also the District 5 Candidates Forum, generously co-hosted by our neighbors from Progressive Cheverly and Cheverly American Legion Post 108. The doors open at 6:45 on Monday, and the forum starts promptly at 7 o'clock at Cheverly American Legion Post 108, 3608 Legion Drive, the big stone building on the hill. Again, that is Monday, the 17th of February, which is the federal President's Day holiday, also observed by the town. 2 events on the 23rd of February. Cheverly United Methodist Church is hosting the Courageous Conversations event, co-hosted or sponsored, I guess, by the Cheverly Village. I believe that starts at 2 o'clock. And then very separately, the St. Ambrose Men's Club Spaghetti Dinner is on the 23rd. I think we're opening the doors at 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock on the 23rd. That will be at Bannon Hall on the east side of the church at St. Ambrose. So please stop by. There will be food for sale, obviously, to dine in and to take away. And then lastly, March 1st, Cheverly American Legion Post 108 is hosting the Wild Anacosstians concert. We are looking to sell about 150 tickets. It's going to be packed. We will notify the neighbors in Ward 3 because even though it's inside, it will be loud and there will be a lot of parking on the hill. That is Saturday, the 1st of March, and I think we're going to open the doors at 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Councilmember Fry?
Well, I just want to note, before I do my announcements, that on our calendar, we do have our mayor and council budget priorities that are due on the 24th of February and a budget meeting scheduled for March 20th as well as April 3rd. So those are already on our calendars. I don't know if that's going to change or anything, or if they're just tentative holds, but they are there. Congrats, Chief. Thank you for everything that you've done and for all of the people, the humans that you've brought on to help keep Cheverly safe and to help Cheverly residents feel safe, because I think that's what's most important. I can't wait to have more of DC's baked goods to celebrate when we do your swearing in. No pressure. And I also want to say welcome. Now, I don't know if it's just Officer Jackson, Detective, what the actual title was. Sergeant. Thank you, Sergeant Jackson. And I love the bilingual aspect as well, so thank you for that. I saw the photos for Polar Plunge. I want to say that I'm very disappointed that the mayor did not plunge. However, I look forward to next year and donating money to see that happen. But thank you all for that. It did look like a great time. I'm sorry it rained. I just wanted it to be cold for you. I didn't want it to be rainy and cold. So that was great. Yeah, there's always next year. That's right, for me to watch. And I do want to note, I think we've said this before, but as our department has grown, we've noticed around us that that's not happening with, the county police department and things like that. They did grow, I think, a little bit. They had 4 more officers at the end of this last year than the year prior. But they're still over 400 officers short. And so what you've done has just been exceptional. So thank you for that. Lastly, I know that there has been a lot going on in the last 3.5 weeks. Not that I'm counting down days or anything like that. There's going to be a resource fair next week, next Saturday. The venue's still to be determined. That's going to try to bring together different resources for immigrant community as well as our federal workers, just to bring just different types of resources, whether it's job training, financial resources, immigration resources, legal resources, that kind of thing. So just kind of be on the lookout. That's going to be coming from my boss's office. That's Council Chair Jolene Ivey, as well as Congressman Ivey's office, to happen sometime next Saturday. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. And I think that is all I have.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes, congratulations, Chief. Our staff is amazing. All of our staff is amazing. In the last 2 weeks, there has been a water main break on one side of my house and then a whole fire on the other side. And both times, I called WSSC, I called 911, but the support that I received from our staff was just phenomenal. And I feel like our residents are so well taken care of and in good hands with all of our staff. Which is why it makes me sad to hear that our Public Works Department got angry feedback about snow. And just to echo what Councilmember Fry was saying, this is a really tricky time for a lot of people, not just for immigrants, not just for federal workers, but all of the people that you encounter right now are probably dealing with something in some way, and everyone is having a really hard time. And so I think for us on council, that means sometimes having to make some hard decisions. It means a lot of prioritizing and making sure that we are prioritizing the right things. And staff has to do that as well. So I just want to urge everyone to engage with each other with grace, with assuming the best of intentions, because I know even just up at this table, there's a lot going on right now, and our residents are hurting. And so we're going to have to make some hard decisions budget-wise, I'm sure, and all sorts of things, but I just want to say we need to all take care of each other. So let's do that, please. That's all.
Councilmember Dalton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Briner, for that reminder. We would all do well to remember to treat each other with grace. 2 announcements. One is that there is no Ward 4 Civic Association meeting this month as it coincides with President's Day. That's number 1. Number 2, I would also like to call to your attention or echo what Ms. Salo had mentioned earlier about the Great Backyard Bird Count. You will find that further information on page 16 of the newsletter. So just want to put an exclamation point on that. Thank you.
Councilmember Wade?
Just want to echo what my fellow council members mentioned regarding what's going on. I'm one of those people directly affected. My wife works at USID. She's been in the dark for almost 2 weeks now, and she manages a staff of about 15 people. So just be cognitive of that across the board. With that being said, as mentioned several times before, with my day job working in community schools, I provide several wraparound services. We just partnered with the city of Hyattsville to feed about 300, 400 people. So if anybody's in need, not just Ward 1, but anybody you know that's in need of any type of food insecurities, as well as financial and things of that nature, please reach out. But the bright light is Happy Valentine's Day for the people who serve it. I believe it should be every day, but definitely for this particular day. And the most important, my beloved oldest daughter, Savannah Imani Wade, in her greatness, her birthday is this Saturday. So happy 26th birthday to my beautiful and only daughter, to you. I yield back.
All right, is that everyone? Great. Okay, well, I have several Valentines because if you are 55 and seasoned and plus, we are having a bit of a brunch tomorrow for you. And so we ask that you just, join us for a little snack and some Valentine's Day love tomorrow if you're the 55 and older Cheverly resident. There may be some dancing. I'm not sure. We didn't get insurance for this event, so I don't know if that's a good idea. But we hope to see you tomorrow. I do want to let folks know that I just posted and explained what my thoughts were around muffins with the mayor. I don't normally have a standing mayor's hour. They are set by appointments. So that I can meet people when it's great for them. But there was a lot of feedback about what has happened, if anything has happened in the last few weeks. So I want to just create that space for folks to come. You're free to yell, but not like very loudly in my office. There will be muffins available, so hopefully carbs will help calm everybody down. But that will be on the 21st of February, so next Friday at 9 a.m. And then just looking forward to the following month. I'm going to reach out to folks that were here before that were providing art resources. I think it's devastating that we weren't able to keep our artist group in town. They've moved to Baltimore. But I've scheduled also just to have an art therapy session for federal employees. That will be March 21st, so the 30 days after that. And really, it's just to come and debrief if you want to take advantage of art supplies and just try to not think for a couple hours, because we do need to have just safe spaces where we can take care of ourselves mentally. So just want to make sure that that's out there as well. And if there is nothing further for the good of the town of Cheverly, Mayor and Council, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Councilmember Briner. Is there a second? It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. You all have a good night.